welcome to Far East Wargaming, bringing you another Heresy Thursday. I'm your host Richard, and once again, joining me is Jason.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Glad to be here again after a little bit of a short break, doing a little bit of business travel, but we're once again digging into it.
Yes, and this week we're talking about the latest announcement that came on a Sunday preview, not a Heresy Thursday, from Games Workshop. And that there is the new Heroes of Beta Garmon, which we've seen in the past. But let's have a look at what they announced exactly. So the first one they announced was the sale of Shadrach Medusan, the Master of the Shadow Legions. And we've not had a chance to talk about this one yet.
Yeah, I think we might have missed him on one of our other breaks. Really good looking model. For those of you that know the fluff, he was considered one of the most effective of the Shattered Legion commanders, with a mixed force of Raven Guard, Sallies, and Iron Hands. And here we have him in all of his glory, and it's nice looking Mark III, to be quite honest with you. I think for me, it's the right balance of detail without going too crazy. And yeah, it's a good looking model, and I'm glad that we finally have it. And it's going to be a conversion base for so many characters.
Yeah, I like the model. There's a couple of things I've noticed that don't really pique my interest too much. I've never been a big fan of this new thing they've been doing with the bolters, where they have straps on the bolters, because I think I've always read in the lore they were always mag-locked somewhere, and having a strap just seems counterproductive. And then we're also getting these new scopes that are very 40k to me, and less heresy appropriate there.
Yeah, I mean, fair points. The strap one I'm kind of with you on, but I mean, rule of cool, I guess, on that. The scopes isn't as much of a big deal for me, just because we've seen them on sniper rifles, we've seen them on various other heresy weapons. But yeah, it does find itself more common in 40k, I think. Probably the only thing that actually stops you from converting this model is he's got an Iron Hands logo on his knee, he's got one on the belt buckle, and he's got what looks to be an Iron Hand / Mechanicum chain around his neck. But other than that, this model is going to be super easy, in my opinion, to convert. You just got to get rid of some of the extra cogs if you're not going to be using it for, say, Iron Warriors or Iron Hands. But even as is, with just a little bit of work, you could turn this into a Forge Lord, you could turn this into a Tech Marine, you could convert this into a Praevian. So yeah, I'm really liking this model a lot, as is, as well as for the conversion potential.
Yes, I was going to say the very same thing. I think there is a bit you need to shave off, and I think Forge Lord and Praevian are going to be quite common conversions for this. Adding a little bit extra on the back, like a servo arm or something along those lines, wouldn't be too hard on this model. And it is in resin. It's going to be a bit tricky, but we're used to working with resin, having worked with Horus Heresy models in the past. We are shifting over to plastic more and more, which is lovely to see. But I don't think resin's going to go away anytime soon for us in the Horus Heresy range there.
True, and I really like actually the new resin sculpts and what they're doing in terms of the tooling and the resin material itself. For those of you that have been dealing with Forgeworld for as long as the Heresy, I can tell you that this is 100 times better than it ever used to be, in terms of the crispness and the quality of the casting. And yes, there's still errors, so don't flame me. I'm not saying that they're perfect, but I find more and more of the new models, as I get them into my hands, are just so much better than the way that they used to be.
Yes, and we do have another tactical rock, but he's not standing on it, which is a nice change of pace. That's been a recurring theme with the modelers at GW for the Horus Heresy range. We're getting these lovely tactical rocks. It's still on the base. I don't know if that's actually part of the base or part of the model, but it'd be interesting to see when we do get our hands on this. We've also seen before the Hibukan, Seeker of Atonement from the White Sqauds there. We had a quick chat about this model in a past Heresy Thursday, and we've got him making an appearance in this announcement because I think the pre-order is going on this weekend.
Yes, it is, and so I won't go over everything that we've talked about before, but it is nice to see the model coming out finally, and you're able to get your hands on it. I do have a White Sqauds force that's in various stages of completion, so I'm sure I'm going to be picking up one of these. He definitely does not have the same conversion potential, in my opinion, that Shadrach does. There's just way too much detail on there that just kind of screams White Sqauds, although I'm sure some of the better of you with green stuff can probably make use out of him it will take a little bit more work, but it's a cool looking model. I won't go too much back into that, and yeah, I'll be picking one up.
Yeah, definitely if you're trying to make conversions on this, you have to be proficient with your modeling themselves. And there's a lot to shave off and resculpt here. I think this is going to be an expert kit, I think as they're classifying it on the website here. Further down, we also have the two Sons of Horus characters we've seen in the past. Tybalt Mar, the captain of the 18th Company, and a little Horus Aximand, the captain of the 5th Company. Once again, these were announced quite a while ago and are coming on sale this weekend. Two quick words about these guys?
Tybalt Mar, I do like the model as well. I think it's a pretty good pose. He's in Mark 4, which is great to see, not another Mark 6. This model could very easily be used as a Blood Angel or a Emperor's Children model because he's got the wings. He doesn't have a lot of detail with the exception of the shoulder pads and the backpack that scream Sons of Horus. So this is another model that I think is going to get a lot of play in the conversion space.
Yep, and little Horus Aximand a bit less so because of his shield having really the Eye of Horus on it there, and I think he's got the 16th Legion sculpted pretty heavily into his iconography there.
He does. It looks like the Eyes of Horus. That's probably just paint, but yeah, a lot of the other details and trim and stuff like that on his armor is definitely Sons of Horus. Maybe you could get away with as a, I don't know, World Eater, Night Lord. Might be able to do some stuff with that, but that big honking shield is obviously going to have to go. Yeah, good looking model. Happy to see both of these finally getting released so we can get our grubby hands on them as well.
Yeah. But then I think the one that's piquing our interest here at Far East Wargaming is the announcement and the showcase of the Legion Astartes command squads in what I believe are plastic.
We believe, yes, that it is plastic as well based on everything else that we've read, but also because it keeps talking about boxes. And typically, a lot of the Forgeworld stuff is in blisters, or they don't really they will specifically say that it's in Forgeworld resin or expert, how they classify it now. So these should be in plastic. I've actually got very extreme feelings about these boxes, and let me just quickly explain why. I love the heads, I love the pads, although there's not enough of them. I love the banners, and of course, we love all the arms that open up a lot of posing possibilities. I do not love the shields. We don't need more shields. We can already get shields in Assault Squad, so why they decided to go with this, I have no idea. I do not love all the swords. Why on earth are we still screaming about getting axes, getting mauls, getting spears, getting any of the other weapon options? I don't know why. We don't need more swords. I'm sorry, we really don't, even though these are both left and right-handed, and previously we've only had a plastic in, I think it's the left hand. But the helmets I love, actually. And those helmets look really good. And even in the sample picture where they've got them on both Mark 6 and Mark 3, I think they fit the aesthetic of both of those marks of armor really, really well. But come on, when are we going to get axes and mauls and the other weapons? It's ridiculous that we're still screaming for those, and you have to try and beg, borrow, and steal or convert.
Yep, I echo a few of those thoughts. I will start with what honestly I think are the positives. I think these banners, mainly the Mark 3 banner there, the Mark 3 banner is beautiful, and if that's in plastic, it's making Legion standards, heralds, just more of a breeze as opposed to having to convert like we've had to do up until now to get these command squads. And also that is a very nice big piece of flat plastic, we're hoping here, that will easily have space for the decals you can get, and we get some lovely decals for banners in the Horus Heresy, and so I'm glad we've got this. I'm less keen on the tiny one that comes in the Mark 6. I'm kind of confused to what they were trying to aim at there, even though it looks like you can swap the tops for a Eye of Horus or a Imperial Eagle there. I really don't know. I don't know why they've gone so understated with the Mark 6 versions of the banners. This is more, honestly, a bit like a upgraded Vexilla as opposed to a Legion standard there, in my opinion, for the Mark 6s. I do echo your opinion in terms of the combat shields. Look, they're lovely models. They're lovely sculpts. It's great. But I don't know people putting combat shields on their command squads. It really doesn't add too much extra. It adds a small invul that may save you every now and then, once in a blue moon. It's not big enough to act as breacher shields, as an alternative version of breacher shields, which would have been nice to see in plastic there. So again, I think a slightly missed opportunity here. And power swords, even though power swords are better than they were in the previous edition because of their rending ability, they're not really what you're putting on your command squads either, in my opinion, especially if you're running them just in normal artificer armor. And I would have liked to see something slightly different in the armor, as opposed to them just reusing the plastics here that we have in the standard boxes, to really make them stand out as artificer armor as opposed to just a regular marine armor there.
Yeah, you raise a lot of different points, a lot of good ones. I do like the Roman-esque smaller standard. I like that a lot, actually. I think you're right. It could be used as just as a Vexilla, and I think this is a better option as a Vexilla, because even though the new Vexillas are in plastic and have a different style of connection, they still break like crazy. I'm sorry. And it's super annoying. So I'm glad to have one like this that I could actually use in that manner if I wanted to. It looks like the top piece, of course, can be switched to either Loyalist or Traitor icons, or you can just leave it off. So that, to me, is a little bit of flexibility. The shields, I'm going to go back to this on the shields, and not to beat a dead horse, but combat shields without bolt pistols. Why? Like, I don't know why they did that on the assault squad. I don't know why they do this on this command squad. They should have the hands holding the shield with a bolt pistol, right? It doesn't make any sense why they would do that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to your point on veterans and on command squads, you're not only going to be taking things like axes, mauls, but you're going to be taking mass power fists, or you're going to be taking lightning claws. This is the very meta choice because of the sheer amount of attack that they can put out with the lightning claws. I do like these boxes, but again, it looks like we're going to probably have to get an entirely different box to get the weapons that we're after.
Yeah. I also noticed there is a bolt pistol here, and I think this might be the first time we're seeing a bolt pistol in plastic, because in the plastic sets we get plasma pistols, which honestly is one of my biggest pet peeves for this latest Mark 6 box, in terms of my sergeant has to have a plasma pistol sculpted into him. Extra points for no reason. I don't know who spends extra points on plasma pistols for their sergeants there. Kind of a waste of time. A bolt pistol would have been just a lot more appropriate and appreciated. So again, we're having to scrape this bit from this new box. The one thing I will say that is positive in their wording, at least, is that it looks like there's 2 boxes here coming out for 5-man size boxes with I'm guessing half a sprue of Marines and the sprue of upgrades. But they're also indicating that there might just be the upgrade sprue available. So you could just use some of the Marines you already have without having to buy the whole new box. And I'd be curious to see if that then is going to be a full box for both the standards, and you get both the Mark III and the Mark V, or would there be 2 separate, more blister packs?
Yeah, to me, I'm probably putting my money on you get everything that's in the picture, not the physical Marines themselves. But I think this is probably 1 upgrade sprue if I had to guess, and then they'll package it either with 5 Mark IIIs or 5 Mark VIs if I had to guess. And then it also seems to indicate that maybe there'll be a 3rd box, which is just the upgrades themselves. It is a little bit unclear, but I mean, either or. I mean, there's nothing wrong with more Marines. I don't think that this is 2 separate sprues. I really don't. I think it's all going to be just on one, because that would make the most sense. One little last probably positive comment that I will leave. I do love the bionic sword arm. That's definitely going to get some play in my Iron Hands and some of the other armies, and I do like the sheathed weapon options as well. But yeah, you're right. Single bolt pistol, annoying. And I do really wish they had more of those studded pauldrons as well, especially the spiky one. That looks so cool.
Yeah. Again, I do echo your thoughts on the helmets. I do like this new style of helmet here, and I think, honestly, they're quite mix and matchable between the different marks here. I don't think there's anything screaming Mark 6 or anything screaming Mark 3 in those helmets. Again, also I don't really use bare heads if I can avoid it, so I'll be definitely going the helmet route.
There you go.
Moving on, we've also had announcements for Legions Imperialis, and I'm happy to announce we're getting closer at Far East Wargaming to actually getting a Legion Imperialis game going. We've got terrain in, not official terrain, all of it anyway, but we will be getting this out in the coming weeks, painted and ready for battle reports, and then maybe a couple test games for us, just so we get a bit acclimatized to the rules. But the one thing we have been saying about Legions Imperialis up until now is that the starter box really was not sufficient to get anybody properly into the game, either as a Astartes or as a Solar Auxilia. So it's nice to see they've announced some battle groups, and the first one being the Legion Astartes battle group here. And that's comprised of 4 heavy Kratos tanks, 10 Rhinos, 4 Leviathan Dreadnoughts, 4 Derrideo Dreadnoughts, 4 Rapier batteries, 4 Tarantula batteries, 2 command squads, 8 tactical Legionnaire bases, 2 Terminator bases, 2 Assault Marine bases, 4 support bases, and 4 Contemptors, as well as 4 Outrider bases, 6 Scimitar bases, 4 Javelins, and 4 Land Speeders. That is a mouthful, but really what it boils down to is they are giving you 5 boxes that they already have on sale, which is the Infantry box, the Kratos box, the Fast Attack box, the Support box, and the Transport Rhino box, all in one convenient battle group. And to me, this is getting into the right size to play a game.
It is. And it is a mouthful, and it is a lot of options. The one downside is that if you do have already the starter boxes, and let's face it, most people do already have the starter box, a lot of this infantry is going to be overkill. You're probably not going to be using this. Or if you're one of those people that traded the Solar Aux, for example, for another set of the starter box Space Marine infantry, then you're certainly not going to be probably using a lot of this. But hey, I mean, everything else in the box is quite useful. And, I think you and I were talking earlier offline, and you were mentioning that if we put this at a premium, or excuse me, at a discount, like we would typically see Games Workshop do in these kinds of collections. What did you think actually the discount was going to be?
Well, everything in Legion Imperialis is at £31.50 per box, which is actually really convenient. It's nice to see a bit of standardization there. Again, I don't think it's matching points, but I think we're looking at something over £100 at the minimum. I don't think they're going to be going under £100 for this. And I think just retail price of everything in the box is £157.50. So I'm thinking close to the 110, 30% discount.
Yeah, that would sound about right. I mean, if we use the example of the full-size 30K Battle Force boxes, that's pretty much the discount range that they came in, kind of that 30 to 35, 37% discount. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any complaints about this other than the fact that Legions Imperialis, just in my opinion, hasn't been supported well enough, and I hope that doesn't signify that it's not going to have legs. I mean, again, to your comment earlier, just over here in Asia, it's been impossible for us to get this stuff. The terrain has been impossible. The boxes themselves have been very sporadic when they come in, and when they do come in, they tend to be gone pretty quickly because everybody's hunting for these. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this box and to the other ones, but I don't know. Let's pray that it has legs, and let's also pray that we can get something going pretty quick, because I'm kind of looking forward to this for a long time.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to this. I've been painting this on and off for a while now. The one thing I will say for Legions Imperialis, they have had a lot of releases, but it's been trickled out, which is kind of annoying. And whether that's due to design, due to manufacturing problems, pipeline problems, regardless of the fact, it's trickling out here and there. We've had several books come out, and each time a book comes out, they release a few new units that are in the books. But it does mean if you want to be playing all of these units, you need to be buying every single book, which again is not great for me in a hobbyist point of view. It's fantastic from Games Workshop's point of view of making money, which is #1 priority for them. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. The one thing I will note about this box, as opposed to the Solar Auxilia box, is there are no Predators in this box, and they did announce the box of Predators because we've not been able to get Predators yet. They came with 3 in the standard starter set, and it looks like the standard box of Predators is going to follow a 6 Predator pattern there. But it's not included. We get the fast attack, which we've already had access to for a while now. So we'll see. Predators are nice. Tanks are pretty strong in Legions Imperialis from everything I've read, and the las cannon variant on the Predators is also very strong. Point of contention whether there should be las cannons in this after the latest update here, where Predators now have las cannon, twin link las cannons, as opposed to just the Predator cannon there. But these are lovely models. We've seen them in the past. We've painted a few ourselves. I really do like them.
I do as well. I mean, I don't dislike any of the models in the LI range or their full-size counterparts, to be quite honest with you. I mean, we can have our little, criticisms here and there about certain character models and whatnot, but in general, the generic models for 30K are just good. All in all, they're pretty good. I do agree with you that it's kind of weird that we're getting the Predators as a separate box and they decided not to include it in the battle group. That one's a little bit of a strange choice to me. Instead giving us the Kratos, but it is what it is. Probably what I'll say about the Solar Auxilia battle group is, unlike the Astartes box, you can pretty much use everything in this, because Solar Aux can be played as a Horde, or they can be played as Armored Might, or they can be played with a lot of these other little options. So I think this one gets a little bit more use and value, perhaps, than the excess infantry in the Legion's Astartes box. But yeah, they did the same thing also with the Solar Auxilia Leman Russ Strike Squadron, boxing it separately, yet that's available in the battle group. A little bit of a weird choice, but what are you going to do? Yep.
The Solar Auxilia battle group, I think, is probably more beneficial for those players here. It comes with 2 Bane Blades or Hellhammers, 12 Rapier batteries, 4 Cyclops remote bombs, 12 Tarantula sentry guns, 2 Legat commander bases, 8 auxiliary bases, 4 Velatari bases, 4 bases with flamers, 4 Ogre bases, 4 Heavy Sentinels, 6 Dracosan transports, and 8 Leman Russ tanks with both battle cannons and Vanquisher cannons there. And that is the new unit, because that is also coming out on its own in a 8 strong box, as opposed to the 6 for the Predators. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm a bit confused here, because to me they're the same size.
Which ones are you talking about?
The Leman Russ and the Predators are around the same size, aren't they, in the models? Maybe slightly bigger in the Predator tanks, but you're getting, honestly, a lot more out of the Leman Russes here.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah, sorry, now I understand what you were getting at. Well, I mean, look, let's face it. The way that we get models, whether it's in 40K, 30K, whatever, it's not always 1 for 1, as in you get 6 of one, then you should get 6 of another. Very often they price based on the actual points cost. Like, for example, a box of Orc Boys or Guardsmen, they're not priced at the same cost in real money per model. So I guess I can understand why they're doing that with the Leman Russes, but it is a little bit of a sour taste in the mouth. But yeah, I mean, that's probably a whole separate discussion of GW's pricing model and how that works versus points.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Once again, this Solar Auxilia battle group is coming out retail at the exact same price as the Legion Astartes battle group. It's including an infantry box, a Dracosan transport box, the new Leman Russ box, the air support box, and the Bane Blade box. All of them priced at £31.50. And I think the discount's going to be the exact same. Both these boxes will come out the exact same. But I do agree with you heavily there that everything in this box can be used. For us at Far East Wargaming, I think I've painted up 3 sets of the Solar Auxilia from the starter box. I think if we picked up one of these boxes, that would be the last we would need for a Solar Auxilia force of a sizable amount, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And that reminds me, I need to get on my my Death Guard for LI. I've assembled everything, I've sprayed everything, but I've yet to do any of the actual painting on it just because I've been so busy with other stuff or traveling for work. But now that we finally have a light at the end of the tunnel, especially on the terrain, then that's probably going to give me the motivation I need to get painting. And the last thing that we see in this article is they definitely repackaged a lot of the miniatures, whether it's some of the knights, a lot of the flyers. And lo and behold, there is the terrain that we've been screaming for. And this is why it's probably been unavailable, because they've been waiting to repackage it. But yeah, this is a lot of stuff that's coming back, which is good to see. But let's get it on the damn shelf.
Honestly, if the delay has been purely because they're waiting for packaging, I'm honestly seething inside. We don't care about what package it comes in. Just get us the models if they're available.
Right.
But yeah, even direct order, I don't need a nice box. If it was direct order and we could have just got it in the generic white Citadel boxes or the Games Workshop boxes, that would have been perfectly fine for me as well. But yeah, no. Just rounding off everything that was announced on Sunday, this is something we don't really talk about too much. It's more of the memorabilia, and I've been a really big fan of some of the Siege of Terra memorabilia. I have several of these maps, and I cry inside to say I've missed a few of these that would give me the entire set, because honestly, as collector's items, these are some of the most beautiful ones I've seen Games Workshop do. We've got the Sanctum Imperialis Palatine map this time. And once again, I think it's great. It's a well-made piece.
Yeah, the maps are cool, and I'm kicking myself because I actually had the first 3 or 4, I can't remember. And then just because I didn't figure that I'd ever actually be able to do anything with it, I ended up selling them, and now I'm kicking myself. But I'll probably pick this one back up. What's very interesting to me as I go down towards the bottom, and I'm skipping over Echoes of Eternity, which is book number 7 in the Siege. It's getting released in paperback. There's not much else to say besides that. Very interesting if you go all the way down to the bottom of the article. One of the last paragraphs, it says, there's a few surprises from Warhammer community, including a new entry in the Exemplary Battles of the Age of Darkness series. So I guess that means in the next week or two, we're going to get another one of those articles, which should be very, very interesting. And also the very last sentence says there's also more to see from the upcoming Warhammer, the Horus Heresy Command Squad scene above. So they've given us a little bit of a teaser there at the very end. And it just kind of remains to be seen what that is. But I like the fact that the exemplary battles keep getting supported, because we do get new units that come in those. We do occasionally get some new missions as part of those articles as well. So that was a good little bone that they put at the very bottom of the article for those of us that actually read the whole thing and didn't just, quickly skim through and look at the pictures of the stuff we liked.
Yep, good catch there. Catching the Easter eggs that Games Workshop likes to leave behind for the keen-eyed amongst us. But all in all, I'm happy with this announcement. It's going on pre-order this weekend, I believe. So guys, queue up. I'm guessing there's going to be very limited stocks of this in your local gaming stores, and then we'll all have to wait several months for the production to actually ramp up to be seeing these on shelves if your local stockist actually stocks them directly there.
Yeah, absolutely. I do pre-order as much as possible when it does come out, not because of FOMO or anything like that, but more because it can be sometimes difficult for us here in Asia to actually get these items. And the easiest way to do it is just to go ahead and do the pre-orders. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty heavy week for me, and I think the old wallet's going to be screaming a little bit after Saturday.
But we'll see. Well, look, guys, let us know in the comments if you guys are thinking of picking up any of these latest announcements. I'm honestly looking forward to some of them. I'm apprehensive about a few of them. There's some I just won't touch, mainly the Sons of Horus characters there, for me as a player who doesn't play that faction, or that legion, sorry. But yeah, let us know which ones you're going to be picking up, which ones you're excited about, what your thoughts are on some of these box sets. If you agree with this, if you have some other constructive viewpoints that we may have missed in regards to what we just discussed, let us know in the comments. And if you haven't already and you did enjoy this video, please hit the bell notification icon, the like button, so a nice thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe as well to get notified of our latest releases. We're trying to release on Thursdays for our Heresy Thursday podcast, and then some type of battle report or event on a Monday there. But look, from me, Richard, thanks very much for tuning in. Any last words, Jason?
No, probably the only last word that I would have is, again, thanks everybody for the comments and for all the support. We really do appreciate it. If there's a matchup that you would like to see in a bat rep, let us know. Let us know in the comments, because we now finally have enough of the legions to do even more matchups. I've got about 7 or 8 workable forces. Rich has a couple. We've got other players in the area that have it. So if there's something that we haven't done yet, let us know, and perhaps we can get that on an upcoming bat rep. But yeah, that's pretty much all for me, and we will catch you on the next one.